Hello, everybody. Good evening. We're going live once again. The topic of this live will be alcohol is also a drug. And we'll be hearing some comments from our participants, Gracie Santoro, founder of the collective Alcoolismo Feminino, or Feminine Alcoholism, Sabrina Presman, psychologist who specializes in chemical dependency, Roberto Flores, one of the oldest chemical dependency counselors in Brazil, and Luca Pantaleão, a comedian and from a personal point of view, a recovering alcoholic. We were live before but had some technical difficulties, so I'm going to start over. I hope that you will be patient and understanding. So I'll be bringing Gracie on now. These things happen, right? When we are live, we control practically nothing. Hey Gracie, we're back. There was a little issue, but we're back. So you were talking about the problem of being in denial, right? Which is very important regarding alcoholism and chemical dependency as a whole. And you suffered quite a lot because of that in terms of alcoholism, because you were in denial, right? You have the floor now. Yes, well, since alcohol is a illicit drug and is so widely accepted, socially speaking, since I was a kid, I grew up surrounded by all types of beverages. My family always drank a lot. It was a family of Europeans who drank a lot. I even had a cousin who actually died drinking perfume, drinking isopropyl alcohol, which is the one we use now and is such a hot topic right now. So to me, alcohol is one of the worst, and maybe the worst drug, because it is the door that leads you to other drugs. But I didn't have that vision. To me, an alcoholic was a homeless person who did nothing but beg and drink around. So I didn't have that vision, especially being a woman. So for many years, every time I drank, even as a teenager, I think I've said this before, I could drink once a month, but I drank a lot. I always drank a lot, wasn't able to stop. And that progressed, right? Because alcoholism is a progressive disease. The syndrome or disorder is progressive. And when I separated from my husband, I was around 29, 30 years old. I began to drink a lot, more and more every day. I had two small daughters. One of them was 4 or 5 years old, and the other one was 2. And I really started worshipping alcohol. I began to drink Wednesday through Sunday, sometimes Wednesday through Saturday, and on Sunday I tried to restrain myself from doing it, but for me it was already very hard to stop. I started suffering amnesia and I interacted with other people who had the same issue, but in a more advanced stage. Because that way I could still deny I had a problem even more. I said to myself, I drink beer. He drinks whiskey and even mixes it with other drugs. So I don't have a problem. He has a problem, right? So I kept making excuses and interacting with those people in a more advanced stage. I experienced violence and abuse. I abandoned my little girls. I truly idolized alcohol and did everything it took to be able to drink. I even managed to move back to my mother's to leave my girls with her so I could go on drinking. And always making excuses, Oh, but I'm separated, I cannot take care of my kids on my own, being a divorced mom and all. My mom bought my story and I went out to drink while she took care of my daughters. You stop me when my time is up, okay? Because I talk a lot. No, it's okay. You still have a few minutes. Okay, so yeah. I had already been through a very difficult situation involving physical violence, in which my daughter saw me. I got home pretty bruised and completely drunk. And that same week, my mom came to me and said, "Look, you're going to look for help or else I will kick you out." And just to summarize, I went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And in there, I went through a spiritual awakening. I was lucky enough to meet 4 other women who really, really helped me. And that is something very rare. That is why we founded the collective, because one of the things, now getting into the story of the collective, one of the things that was hurting me during all those years of recovery, and I want to make it very clear, I am extremely grateful to Alcoholics Anonymous, and it is an organization that has saved my life and the life of so many. But it was hard for me to talk at the meetings regarding sexual issues or very intimate matters. And I saw that many women went there but didn't stay. In the meetings I went, 90% were men. And since the groups are independent, some of them even have what we could call group owners, and they do things the way they think best. And there is a lot of prejudice. We already live in a very sexist society, and we are born basically with a huge burden on our shoulders as women. Being an alcoholic is even worse, because we are ashamed and suffer prejudice even from other women. So seeing all of that inside of me, I said to myself, this is not possible. Until one day I read an article which said that the percentage of alcoholic women had increased around 40% in the last 10 years, something like that. And that very few women ask for help. The percentage of women who ask for help is lower than that of men. So then I invited Claudia, who is my psychologist to this day, and my partner in the collective, and she is watching us right now, and also Dee, who has also been a recovering alcoholic for almost 12 years now. And we created the collective basically wanting to build a bridge to show our faces, as you very well do through your Instagram account, and to emerge from anonymity and send the message to say, look, we are recovering, we looked for help, life is possible without alcohol, right? I am a happy woman without alcohol. I do everything I want to do, everything. I'm not the type of alcoholic who stays home. I do everything I want to because I don't need to drink anymore. I don't want to drink because my life is good with no alcohol. So we created social media accounts, an Instagram account, myself, Claudia, and Dee. We founded the collective on February 20, and we went on Instagram and said, hey, we are alcoholics and we are looking for other women who are interested. And that is how we found each other, right? It was through a recommendation by another woman. And I saw you guys and just thought, they are so like me. They showed their faces to actually help break the stigma, right? Exactly. And to talk about something that even turned to the name of our life, which is alcohol is a drug. Because people forget that alcohol is also a drug. It's just legal. Exactly. And to show how alcohol is a terrible drug. Well, I was watching the life of the guys from Bill and Bobby from the theater play, and this girl called me asking for help. She said, I would like to ask for help on behalf of my sister because she's drinking hand sanitizer and mixing it with meds. And I used to do that. I didn't drink hand sanitizer, but I drank a bottle of whiskey and combined it with antidepressants, tranquilizers, anti-allergic drugs, remedies for pain, muscle relaxants, everything. I made a cocktail. So that is very serious. I mean, people die. It's more than 3 million people who die of alcoholism worldwide. And we really need to talk about it. Our collective, which you are part of, and we love you. Thank you. Grazie. I love you too, and I'm very grateful. But I have to move on to the next guest. Can you forgive me? Of course. Say the name of the collective's Instagram account so people can check it out. It's at alcoolismo_feminino, and we're in this together. Bye bye. Sorry about the connection problem, okay? Don't worry about it. Goodbye.
Now, I'm gonna give the floor to Duca. Grazi spoke about the matter of living a life, a happy life without alcohol. Now I'm gonna talk to Duca, who is a comedian, children's book author, and a recuperating alcoholic. And he has a great story, and is a very happy person, very interesting person. People think that comedians, they're smiling all the time, but he does go through his struggles, and he's been sober for many, many years. Right, Duca? Hey, thank you, Lu. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was listening to Graziella speak, and of course, we identify with a lot of things, and I've been clean for 16 years. It's going to be 17 years this year. I'm an alcoholic, drug addict, and thank God I'm clean now. And if I wasn't clean, I was not going to be here. And how do you see this people minimizing the effects of alcohol? Tell us a little bit where alcohol took you, because alcohol is also a drug, and which is also the subject of our life. Alcohol to me is not just a drug, it's the worst drug of all. Because it's everywhere, and it's even in the church. You see the priests, they're drinking wine, and people don't understand. They don't know how many alcoholic priests there are out there in the world. It's a lot. And so alcohol took me to try to kill myself and lose my life and lose everything, materially speaking, spiritually speaking. And I was able to conquer things back little by little. And on December 6th of 2003, I tried to commit suicide by jumping off of a building. I started drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was using other drugs, and I was freaking out. And at 10 p.m., I tried to jump off of a building, but luckily somebody was able to restrain me, and I didn't jump. I didn't die. So the next day, I woke up. I was like, I'm going to seek help. And I wasn't living with my parents anymore. I was living with my grandma. And my parents went out looking for me at Jurujuba, which is a psychiatric hospital, because people told them that I had lost it. And I was freaking out, and I had. And they looked for me in police stations and the morgue. And I was in the street still, drinking still. And all messed up. My face was all weird and messed up. And people ask me, what's going on with you? And I'll tell them, I'm just saying goodbye to this life, And I got home, and Mom hugged me, and I told him, hey, either you commit me or you're going to bury me. So on December 8th of 2003, I was committed to a rehab clinic where I stayed for 44 days, and which is where I started to live, really, because I was a good person. I discovered that I am a good person. I'm not a scoundrel, a shameless person, a thug. I have a condition, and a lot of people have that condition. And a lot of people, like Graziella was saying, they are in denial, which is the main thing. Oh, not me. And I used to think like this also. I was like, no, not me. All I do is alcohol, marijuana, ecstasy, and LSD. I don't have any problems with drugs. And so the problem was when it runs out. Yeah. The problem is when it runs out. Yeah. So I saw Graziella talking about it, and I drank rubbing alcohol myself. I found myself in very dire straits, and it's that thing. The recuperating alcoholic is a wonderful thing, but an active alcoholic is just a sad thing. I remember the OLO I used to do. You know what OLO is? Is others leftovers. And I used to look for, I didn't have any money anymore. I didn't know how to speak anymore, not even Portuguese, or didn't even know my name. And so I went to other people's leftovers and people's cans that were left over. I would get the can and I would drink with whatever was inside, with cigarette butts, with ashes. And there was also a famous saying among us drunks that drinking leftovers with cigarette ashes on it, it gives you a bigger high, and it's just sad. But luckily, there was still time left for me to be able to find life. And like in this quarantine, what I see, like everybody is just drinking a lot and really heavily, and I see that like once the quarantine is over, the AA groups will be packed, because who's left? Like in the quarantine, it's only you are left, and like couples are splitting. A lot of things are happening because there's no more the exterior world. There's only the interior that is active now. Man, you're screwed. You're done. And that's the thing. And today, and like, of course, here at home, we don't live a Roman Rockwell painting. But I miss being in a AA meeting a lot. And there's some online meetings, but there's just too many things online, and I like offline. And so the thing that I'm doing the most is surfing, because either you surf or you freak out, so I need to put this endorphin in me, and I've been able to do that, but it's sad, and to see that people are going heavy at it, in drugs and alcohol. And like, I don't have any problems anymore talking about it. The effects of alcohol is quite dismissed and minimized by people. People say, oh, I'm just drinking during the quarantine, and after the quarantine, I'm not going to drink at home anymore. And unfortunately, I don't think this is going to happen. I think it's going to be one of the after effects. And many people, alcoholism will, start on them. I think that, did you have the habit of drinking at home when you were active? Or you just drink socially? Oh, no. I was the guy that used to hide beers inside the produce drawer in my fridge when there was a party at home. Like, we're running out of beers. I'm going to hide some for me because I cannot run out, like we talked earlier. What if it runs out, So I became the seesaw guy. Whenever I sat down, people stood up and left. And now it's different too, because no one invites me to go anywhere, because I don't use anything anymore. I don't drink or whatever. And they don't understand, because it's so hard for a person to understand that the other person has a problem with alcohol, because everywhere you go, you're offered a drink. It doesn't matter where you have a barbecue. Hey, would you like a beer? Because, we need to know that we cannot. And that's the thing. I take my first step every day. I lost. I cannot do it anymore. So you try to tell people, tell it once, hey, no, I'm not drinking now, try to play it off. And he's like, no, I'm not drinking. And they all keep going. No, just one beer. And you keep trying to warn them, no, I'm not drinking. So and then you get the limit. You go, hey, I cannot drink. I'm an alcoholic. If I start drinking, the fun is over. Everything here will be over, because it's a monster that it was, created inside of me, and it's, it's here, and that's the truth. And our monsters are inside of us. There's nowhere for them to go, but they're dormant. That's the truth. Because that's the thing of character flaws. Character flaws, I have tons, but they don't come out. And drugs made them all come out. And, like stealing, cheat, and all those things. that people think that inactive, they think it's just normal. But once you're clean, you go, oh no, this is terrible. You're like, oh, then you have to write, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to many, many people. And now that you're recuperating and you're a father, as a father, how do you see this matter of alcohol? Because exactly this is present everywhere, in church or even at a baby shower that became an adult drinking shower. And what do you tell your daughters? What do you usually tell them? I remember when I was beginning, I would go to the NA meetings and have some people there. They were starting to go through their phase with kids going in their teenage years and starting to use alcohol and so on and so forth. And I have two teenage daughters, but they're practically grown women already. And I try to warn them and show them on my example, and I warn them that there's no happy ending, and I cannot get into their life too much. And I try just try to warn, because I know where I went, and I tell them, and they know, and nothing is hidden from the girls. But what I tell them is just to be careful all the time, because I don't know if it's in the gene, in the blood, or anything like this. I've seen my eldest daughter. She told me that they drugged her drink once, and my youngest daughter, the 18-year-old one, because I hope now, because it's hard, it's hard to control them. They're all over the place all the time. And today, how can I say, perhaps because I have the approach of the addict that I am, very soon, if I identify and notice that the condition is creeping in, I go, hey, I'll, step up and go, hey, let's go to a meeting with me, because I've been noticing that it's derailing things now. And but now it's still okay, because I gave up on my life. I gave up on fighting for things in life, and that's the thing. Once you're clean, things happen, and develop. When I was clean, I published 4 books by myself, and I'm on TV and I do comedy. I have my show, which is the Two of Me concert that I have, which I talk about the addiction side and the comedy side, which was a great thing. And I was in both sides. Yeah, art is it is a great vehicle of information, of prevention. Yeah, because people see me, because my character on TV is a dope head, and because people think my character is me, and the dope head was inside of me, and I have first-hand knowledge and experience on the subject. A lot of experience. To do this character, but it's not inside of me anymore. It's just a character. So in real life, people go, hey, Tuca, come on, let's go there, do this and that. And they're like, no, not me. I don't do anything anymore. Because if I do, I will die. And that's the truth. And one thing that I learned inside the AA Brotherhood, people, be first arrived there, and somebody there getting a chip of however many years and looking of a newcomer and say, hey, if you mess up, man, you're gonna die, either by suffering or being in the wrong place. And I identify a lot, because I think I'm not gonna be in the wrong place, but I'm gonna suffer again. And man, I don't want to suffer anymore. I've suffered way too much, my God. And that's what I try to tell my daughters. It's not that I suffer way too much, and I tell them this, and it's that pain in your soul. It's not a physical pain. It's pain in your soul, and which is the worst one of all. And this pain makes you, give up on living. And this happens with the introduction of drugs. And because in the beginning, everything's wonderful, but, right afterwards, it's like everything downhill. You see, I went to speak at a rehab clinic once, and I was asked if I had drank alcohol from a gas pump, like from a gas station, like a gas pump. And I told him, not yet. And because it's the not yet condition, because I had not drank alcohol from a gas pump. But yet, but I had drank rubbing alcohol. Duca, unfortunately, I am powerless about the time situation. I need to give the floor to my other guests. I put you and Grazi first because you guys have first-hand experience. And now I'm going to give the floor to a psychologist. And she's an expert, and she'll be able to talk about risk factors, like genetic factors, like we mentioned earlier, and she'll be able to talk about technical aspects about alcohol, which is also a drug. Thank you very much, Duca. Hey, follow along with us, okay? Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, now I'm going to invite the psychologist Sabrina Pressman, who is a specialist in drug addiction. Let me find Sabrina.